Your body is a complex biological machine. It has to go through a series of steps and changes in order to burn fat. This in-depth process revolves around hormones, enzymes, and signaling pathways, all of which need to function properly for efficient fat loss. Unfortunately, the more body fat you have, the more likely it is that your hormones will work against you, making fat loss significantly harder. By understanding how fat loss actually works, you can identify where things might be going wrong and what areas you can improve. That alone can make the entire process much easier. That's why today I want to go over the 4 main steps your body goes through to burn fat. Step 1. Your body receives the signal. Step number 1 is getting your body to receive the signal that it needs to burn stored fat for fuel. Now, the first thing you need to understand is this. Your body burns fat all day long, but burning fat is not the same as losing fat. Fat loss depends on the overall balance between how much fat you burn and how much you store over time. And your body is constantly doing both, even when you're in a calorie deficit. So, to actually lose fat, fat burning, or fat oxidation, must be higher than fat storage. Step 2. Calorie deficit. To stimulate this negative energy balance and kickstart fat loss, you need to be in a calorie deficit. If you're highly out of shape or using performance-enhancing drugs, you might lose fat at maintenance or even in a slight surplus. But in almost all normal situations, a calorie deficit is required. Why? Because body fat is essentially stored energy. When the calories from food are enough to meet your body's needs, there's no reason to tap into that stored fat. However, when you're in a calorie deficit, food alone isn't enough to fuel your body, so it turns to stored fat for energy. Keep in mind, 1 pound of fat contains roughly 3,500 calories, making it a very dense and efficient energy source. Also, it doesn't matter how you create that calorie deficit. You can eat less, exercise more, or do both. Research shows that as long as the energy deficit is the same, fat loss results will also be the same. It also doesn't matter whether you cut carbs or fats. The key is the deficit itself. Step 3. Transmission of signals. Once you're in a calorie deficit, your body begins transmitting signals to initiate fat loss. This is where people with excess body fat, or conditions like insulin resistance, can face challenges. A calorie deficit lowers blood sugar, which reduces insulin levels. It also lowers ASP, or oscillation-stimulating protein. Both insulin and ASP act like brakes on fat burning. They inhibit enzymes responsible for breaking down fat, like hormone-sensitive lipase, HSL, and lipoprotein lipase, LPL. When insulin and ASP are low, these enzymes become more active, allowing fat breakdown to occur more efficiently. At the same time, hormones like glucagon and adrenaline increase. Glucagon binds to G proteins while adrenaline activates beta-adrenergic receptors, both triggering the next step in fat loss. Step 4. Lipolysis. Lipolysis is the process of breaking down stored fat. However, it's important to understand this. Fat cells don't disappear. Once created, they stay in your body. What changes is their size. During lipolysis, your body releases triglycerides stored inside fat cells. These are then broken down into glycerol and fatty acids. The fatty acids enter the bloodstream and are transported to tissues that need energy with the help of a protein called albumin. The glycerol can either be reused or burned for energy. Step 5. Fat oxidation. Now we move to the final step, fat oxidation. This is where fat is actually burned for energy. Most tissues in your body can use fatty acids for fuel. However, red blood cells and the brain are exceptions. Red blood cells lack mitochondria, so they can't burn fat. The brain, on the other hand, typically relies on glucose, but in low-carb or starvation states, the liver converts fatty acids into ketones, which the brain can use as fuel. Once fatty acids enter your cells, they are converted into a form called acyl-CoA. From there, they enter the mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell, via the carnitine shuttle. Inside the mitochondria, fat is burned through metabolic processes like the Krebs cycle and the electron transport chain. The result? Energy, along with carbon dioxide and water as byproducts. You exhale most of the fat you burn as carbon dioxide, while the rest leaves your body through sweat and urine. Hormones that affect fat loss. Now, there are also hormones that indirectly affect how much fat you burn. Two important ones are leptin and ghrelin. Leptin is your fullness hormone. It's released by fat cells and signals your brain to stop eating. As you lose fat, leptin levels drop, making you feel less full. At the same time, ghrelin, the hunger hormone, increases, making you want to eat more. This balance helps regulate energy intake, but it can also make fat loss harder over time. In some cases, people develop leptin resistance. This means that even though you have enough body fat, your brain doesn't receive the full signal, making you feel hungry all the time. How to optimize fat loss. To improve hormone balance and make fat loss easier, focus on the basics. Eat whole, single-ingredient foods like fish, sweet potatoes, and vegetables. These help regulate blood sugar and naturally support a calorie deficit. Avoid processed foods and added sugars. Also include weight training. It helps preserve muscle, improves hormone function, and increases overall calorie burn. And that's the fat loss process in a nutshell. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. This is Smart Health Ideas. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.